that's the one thing I want you to understand. When you get the leads from Zillow or Realtor.com or even Redfin, they're typically people are going to them through Google. And in some cases now, because we're so used to it, we go directly to them, right? And yes, they're closer to the bottom of that funnel, but it took time to get there. So this is your opportunity to be able to create that same environment in your niche area. Because if you consistently market on Facebook and on Google, people are going to get accustomed to using your site to go to search for homes. Here we go. Brady, welcome to the show. We've got Chime in the house with us, and we're going to be talking about the difference between Zillow, Realtor.com leads, Facebook leads, and Google leads. I just want to lead off by saying, think of where Zillow and Realtor.com market. They use Google and they use Facebook. So why are you even using Zillow and Realtor.com when you should be doing the same thing, right? The moment we realized that, Brady, which was 2016, we dumped them all. Yeah. We're like, let's just go directly to Facebook, use lead ads, and let's go directly to Google more and jump into PPC. And it's made all the difference because now our bottom line is just a lot more, right? Because our leads are 200 to 250 plus per lead, which is insanity. So Brady, welcome to the show. I've got a lot of questions for you. I'm going to punt it over to you. You take over. Thanks for being on.
You bet. Thank you for the intro there, Tristan. And hey guys, again, my name is Brady Mosk. I'm an account executive here with Chime. Like Tristan's saying, we wanted to break down some lead generation solutions today, talk about what Chime offers in terms of the in-house lead gen and how they stack up against some of the other sources out there, right? So we'll be talking about branded ads, unbranded ads, intent-driven advertising, impression-driven advertising. We're going to throw a lot of buzzwords out at you guys. But the intent is that we're going to help break down what each style of lead generation can offer you in terms of quality leads, quantity leads, timeline expectations. We're going to have some fun with this one, but it's all about ways to increase your sales funnel using digital advertising and some lead generation campaigns. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys.
Awesome. And then while we're doing this, Brady, we've got a few hundred people on. Let us know what city and state you're from. Brady and I always like to see where everybody is from. I'm in Malibu, California. Brady, where you at?
You're talking to me out of Scottsdale, Arizona today.
Oh, nice. Dude, and look, they're coming in. You can see where they're from. Orange County, Phoenix. Oh, somebody's like neighbors to you, bro.
Love it. Well, Orange County folks, hey, I'm from San Clemente originally. So Tristan, even I'm right up the road from you originally. Dude. So born and raised in California. My fiance tricked me into coming out to Arizona. Not a bad place to call home.
I love it. Well, look, Arizona's beautiful too, man. And we got a lot of people on.
Great place.
So.
Great
All
place.
right, what are we looking at right now, Brady?
Guys, I am sharing my screen. This is the Chime CRM. This is the dashboard of our CRM. So it's the first thing our clients look at each time they sign into the system. For the sake of our conversation today, I figured I'd start off by pulling up a different dashboard that's much more specific to lead generation campaigns.
Okay.
When we're talking lead gen and Chime, guys, the campaigns are going to live under this little paper airplane icon up at the top of the CRM. So if you're not doing lead generation and you want to learn about it, check out this tab. If you are doing lead generation with Chime and you'd like to analyze the quality and the efficacy of your campaigns, spending some time in this section of the CRM is definitely worth your time. But let's break down.
I have a question on this, Brady.
Yeah, go ahead.
I see the buyer lead gen and the seller lead gen. Do those both go to Facebook and Google, or
they do?
Are we able to? Okay.
So when clients are on board with Chime, in order to run lead generation for you, we need to have a customer facing website in place to capture your leads. We also need to have our CRM in place to help store those leads, manage them, and ultimately drive your conversion rates. As soon as we have two of those pieces in play, we start talking lead gen options. For your buyers and for your sellers, Chime has Facebook advertising campaigns available. We also have Google pay-per-click advertising available to you. Cool. These campaigns can be activated at any point month to month but you're never required to buy ads or buy leads from Chime. We understand there's seasonality to this. Tristan may be up to his eyeballs with net new leads from the past 60 days, and he might want to pause a campaign for a little bit to play catch up. That sort of flexibility should be available to everyone. So lead generation is always an option. It's never mandatory. It's here when you need it. But let's break it down a little bit further. Let's talk about buyer lead generation first.
All right.
When Chime is doing lead generation to target buyers on your behalf, the two styles of campaigns that we offer are Facebook ads and Google pay-per-click. And I've got examples of both of those ads pulled up here so we can cover them in detail. Let's talk about what Chime does to help find buyers on your behalf from your market on Facebook. The ad that I'm showing here in this example is called a DARE ad. And DARE is an acronym. It stands for Dynamic Advertising and Retargeting. So retargeting is built into this, by the way. We'll touch on that.
Got it.
I've also heard it put as dynamic advertising for real estate. So a couple different acronyms to help get you pointed in the right direction. Here's the bones of it though. What Chime does is we build out a branded ad campaign. What does branded mean? Branded means that it's got your company logo, your company name, or your name up at the top of the ad. We're actually advertising you, your brand, and your business. Right off the bat, that is one critical piece that's worth knowing. When you're using lead gen like this, the ads that folks are clicking on are your ads. The listings that are being displayed in these ads are your active listings. These can also be listings that are active across your team and your brokerage. And we all know how tricky it is to keep active listings. They're turning over faster than ever. So if you don't have enough active listings, we can pull some homes from your MLS and display those homes in your ads in a specific price range or from a specific location of your choosing. But what is a DARE ad trying to do? Number one, it's trying to get your face, your brand, and your business out in front of new people in your community on Facebook. As people scroll through their news feeds and their stories, they're going to start to see your ad, your business, your name, and your listings popping up on these carousel display ads. So we're showcasing your homes in your market on Facebook. When people click on these homes for more information, they're immediately taken from this ad directly to your Chime IDX website. But more importantly, they're dropped right into that listing over on your site. That way they can immediately start to look at the pictures of that property. They can check out the details of that home. If something stands out, maybe they want to save that property to come back to it later, or better yet, request a tour with you right through the scheduling tool on these listing pages. So we're funneling folks from Facebook to your website. We're showing them the properties and the information that they're looking for. And eventually these leads are going to sign in through registration forms, and they're going to be engaged for you through an AI assistant that's also built into Chime. And we'll also cover that here in more detail.
Well, Brady, that's also because we have the AI on, but that's for those listening in, that's an extra cost on the AI. And correct. You can put, I know it says Johnny Chime there, but we have, I don't know if Jake changed it because one of our agents wasn't happy with it, but we had Baby Yoda as the icon.
Yep.
And we named him Grogu, right? Because that's his name. And he would pop up. We made it obvious that it wasn't a real person, that it was AI. So look, you can have fun with it, and you'd be surprised how amazing the AI is, which I'm sure Brady will show you, but go ahead.
That's right. So the idea is that we're trying to get people to leave Facebook, hit your website, and consume the information that you have available over on the site. While on site, your website visitors will be prompted to have conversations through an AI assistant. They'll also be prompted to sign in through those registration forms that are going to pop up to capture first names, last names, email addresses, and phone numbers. And you guys can see I'm actually already signed in here as a lead on this website. So I bypassed that registration in order to look at the details of this home.
Good. That was another question that we had. Perfect.
Glad we touched on that one. I'm already signed in here, so that's why you didn't see registration, right? By the way, guys, in these systems, it's also important to note that you can customize when your registration is popping up on your site. There's kind of two schools of thought. It makes sense to address both. The first is being very bullish on lead capture. I'd like someone to sign in the moment they try and view their very first property on my site. I want to see registration quick, hard, and heavy right off the bat. It's a nice way to make sure that you're prompting folks to sign in. Some of the downsides of that, though, could be that you're going to have a higher bounce rate, meaning people are going to see that registration form and they're going to think, nah, I don't want to sign in right now. I'm out of here. Or Maybe they do just sign in, but potentially provide you some inaccurate lead information. That always sucks. So in order to help personalize that experience, you can choose to display a number of homes first. My recommendation is usually between 2 and 3 properties. You can also trigger your registration on these sites based on the amount of time people have spent browsing on site. So maybe you'd like to give someone a 5 minutes unrestricted access to everything that your website has to offer before you ask them to sign in. I think that's kind of where the industry is going. Tristan, what's your take on registration for website visitors?
I like to leave it so that we catch it at the very beginning before they start seeing it. I like to go through the Facebook route where it's just auto-populated, right? It makes it a lot easier for us. And
what Tristan's referring to, by the way, guys, is when people click on your ads on Facebook, a registration form pops up right there on Facebook to capture their lead info. So in that scenario, they wouldn't be hopping over to their site. They're getting captured as leads right from Facebook. So definitely a good way to go. You have a lot of flexibility in choosing when folks are going to be prompted to sign in from this experience on Facebook and once they get over into your website. And feel free to play around with that. Beta test this on a weekly basis. Maybe one week you try showing 2 homes. Maybe the next week you try giving them 3 minutes of browsing time and then analyze your results. Beta testing is always fun when we're talking lead gen. Continue to make those tweaks. But that's what a Facebook dynamic ad does, is it takes your listings, builds a carousel display of those homes in your market on Facebook, drives traffic to your site, and then helps to capture those leads. That's the first half of a dare ad. The second half is retargeting. Retargeting is incredibly important, guys, in order for you to cut through the noise of what's happening online. How do you become more memorable? How do you become more sticky in the minds of your leads, your website visitors, and ultimately your clients? Retargeting helps with that. So let me give you an example. If I were to click on 939 Villa Avenue here on this ad while I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed later this evening, if I go over to your website and I see one of those registration forms, maybe I don't sign in right there. That's okay, because Chime has Facebook pixels on these listing pages. So the next time I go to Facebook and I'm scrolling through my newsfeed, maybe a week from now or 2 weeks from now, what you're going to see is Chime ads, your Facebook ads, following me around on my Facebook page, on my newsfeed, and my story. So I'm going to continue to see these ads and these homes following me around. It's kind of like when we go shopping at Amazon, right? I live here in Scottsdale, so golf is king here. If I were to go shopping for a brand new driver to help my terrible golf swing, I would then see a million different drivers following me around on ads when I go to Yahoo to look at news or the Journal to read an article, right? It's the same thing we're doing with your listings. We're following around those visitors when they're online later that day, later that week, and later that month. You guys can choose in Chime to which proportion of your budget you'd like to allocate towards retargeting of your leads, as well as the new lead generation to find you folks that aren't already in the system. So as you're thinking about Facebook advertising, think about what you want to do to help retarget your leads, and think about what kind of funding you're looking for in order to brand yourself online, to funnel traffic from Facebook to your website, and ultimately to help capture more leads and increase that sales funnel.
Quick question. It's an isolated situation, but maybe somebody else is experiencing it too. It's from Ryan. It says, what if our Facebook page is restricted from running ads? Are the ads run from Chime's ad account or from ours? And if it's ours, do we need to create a new page in order to run it?
In that example, I would create a new page in order to run it. We would never do advertising for ourselves to generate leads for you, right? When we're doing advertising for clients, we're taking your ad budget and we're building your ads with your branding up top and your homes. So that might be a one-off scenario. I definitely think you should get with our support team. I'm sure we've got some issues to help you troubleshoot that. Sorry to hear you're having that issue, by the way.
Yeah. And Brady, for those listening in, this is just the Facebook aspect of it, correct, right? There's still Google, right?
We got Google.
I have a question about on the Facebook side. Are you guys looking to expand out to Instagram, or do the ads also run on Instagram based on the ads going in on Facebook?
Just a matter of time before we're pushing these Facebook ads to Instagram. You're talking to a 31-year-old, I guess an elder millennial, if you will. So, guys like me are beating the drum of saying, Chime, we got to get up more so on Instagram. Where Instagram does come into play for advertising with Chime, just a very quick note here, guys, is to help promote your listings. So whenever you upload a listing into the MLS, if you'd like help finding buyers for that specific property, within Chime, you can pick out that property and you can create promotional ads around that listing that Chime will design and serve and run on your behalf. Pretty easy to do. Select your desired ad budget, choose your style of promotion. What Chime will do is create ads of new listings, of open house, of price change, of pending, and of sold. So we'll market the life cycle of your listing on Facebook, and we'll also do it for you on Instagram. So to help boost listings, we're putting your listings on Instagram. That's a little different in style than a campaign than those Dare ads that we were just talking about.
Yeah, and also with the Dare ads, just so that you understand how it works, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, Dare ads, it's practically the MLS on Facebook. So as somebody's scrolling through, if Brady's scrolling through and I'm retargeting him, my ad is going to pop up and he's going to be able to scroll through based on what he's searching for. So if it's not available on the MLS, it's not going to show, right? Only the active listings. And just like he's popping up right now, I can scroll through. And Facebook has shown us in the past that the best ads are those you can scroll through. So carousel ads, this is why they're there. And the more information we get as to the users, so the more they click on it, the more they go on it, the more the system automatically sends them more homes that are similar to that. So that's how it works. So you have nothing, you don't even have to set this up. It sets it up for you.
Correct.
That was a question we got. So I was just reiterating that and answering it. And Jake, could you do me a favor and put the link to Chime too, when you get a chance?
We'll get that.
And there's a few other questions too in regards to this. There's the link. When we're looking at ads for Facebook and Google, because Brady, I'm only running right now. I'm only running Google, right? That's all I'm running.
Yeah.
And Jake, by the way, who's running this webinar is our lead coordinator. So he sees it. And if you look to where Realtor.com is, let me just share my screen. I'm going to do something impromptu here, buddy. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go just to Google randomly. Let me go to Google first and then share my screen just to show people what's really happening so they can see this firsthand. Brady, what area are you in?
Over here in Scottsdale.
Okay, homes for sale in there it is, Scottsdale.
This is going to be a good one because this also gives us the chance to talk about you in San Diego trying to target me in Scottsdale to move to San Diego.
Exactly. So check this out. I typed that in. I'm going to zoom in to show you who's here. Toll Brothers, they're using Google. Redfin, your favorite friend, they're using Google. And Somebody Smart, Arizona house listing, and Phoenix homes for sale, right? They're all above the Zillow SEO, but guess where Zillow is also working, right? I can go here and I can do the same thing for San Diego. And you can see not as many ads, but you've got one from Tri Point Homes, another home seller. Search, this is a team, smart team. They're probably using Chime. And then you have Realtor.com and Zillow at the top, right? They got there through buying ads and they still buy ads. And that's the one thing I want you to understand. When you get the leads from Zillow or Realtor.com or even Redfin, they're typically people are going to them through Google. And in some cases now, because we're so used to it, we go directly to them, right? And yes, they're closer to the bottom of that funnel, but it took time to get there. So this is your opportunity to be able to create that same environment in your niche area. Because if you consistently market on Facebook and on Google, people are going to get accustomed to using your site to go to search for homes, right? And we recreate that whole national level portal idea, right? Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com in our areas. That's the key to this. There's a question by Darius. What's up, Darius? Do those leads that come through Google PPC also get retargeted on Facebook?
You do have that capability when you're doing the Facebook ads and the Google campaign simultaneously. We have to be running Google ads for you in order to retarget those folks.
Yeah, and you could definitely do that. And I highly suggest that you do as well. Yeah. So you want to show us something else, Brady? There's a few things you want to show us.
I did. I wanted to also speak, and this will piggyback on exactly what Tristan was talking about in terms of Google ads and kind of the difference philosophically between a Facebook ad campaign and a Google ad campaign. Let me quickly address Facebook. Facebook is going to be a preferred source for branding and for marketing efforts. For example, if I were to move down to San Diego, I don't have a lot of contacts down there that I could lean on to help generate transactions for me. I have to make an impression in San Diego now. In order to do so, I want my face and my name out there in the market on Facebook. I want people to start to see me, my logo, my listings. I want to be relevant.
Yep.
That's a great practical application for using Facebook. Get your name out of obscurity, get those listings in front of new folks, start renting room in their heads, right? We contrast that with a Google advertising campaign, which is intent-driven advertising. When you catch somebody going to Google and typing in homes for sale in Scottsdale or homes for sale in San Diego, they are displaying the intent to actually start searching for homes. So like Tristan said, statistically speaking, a Google lead may be more mid-funnel because they're not in the dreamer stage, they're in the looking stage. So you're catching them in the act. Yeah. In a perfect world, we need to have both of those ad styles running, Facebook for branding, Google to capture the intent, the lookers. If you have to choose one though, let your preference be your guide in terms of if I'm new to the market and I need more leads, let's do some branding. If I need more transactions, I'd be thinking more about Google. So that's the way I describe it, especially as I'm presenting Chime to new folks and doing demos like this all day, every day.
Dude, that's such a great way of explaining it. I think people can understand it. Think of how you use Google when you go and use Google, Brady. It's very specific, right? If I'm looking for a home in Malibu, I'm going to type in Malibu's home for sale close to Pepperdine University, close to the beach. That's a crap load of intent in comparison to just me scrolling on Facebook and being like, what's Brady up to? Oh, wait, homes, click, right? The intent is completely different.
You're capturing someone's curiosity on Facebook. You're capturing someone's intent when they're going to Google. Both are good, but there is a distinction.
And look, the question always comes up, well, what's the conversion rate, right? What's that lead per cost or cost per lead and then cost per closing? That is so arbitrary because it depends on, number one, your area, right? The demand. Number two, how good are you at your dialogue and talking to these people, right? And then how good are you at closing? I don't know two of those three. I only know area, right? I know for my area, we're looking at about $16 a lead. And we're great at it. And even as great as we are, we're close to 2%. So that means 1 out of every 50 that comes through from Google PPC, we close, right? But then we're looking at a whole year, right? It's not like, well, we'll close them in a month. No, we're realistic, right? They're coming in with an intent to look at property. And chances are from Google, we're 6 to 8 months out in comparison to Facebook, which is 8 to 12 months plus. Exactly. So look, you need a lot of details when it comes to this. And most importantly, you can't attack them because Brady, if you're looking on Google and you come in through a Chime website, I mean, what's that conversation need to look like for you to be able to feel comfortable to talk to me?
I want to know that you have insight about me. It's kind of like the theory of George Orwell in 1984, Big Brother is alive and well in these systems, right? There's intelligence and there's tracking capabilities. So when I get called for the first time as a new lead, it's not, hey, Brady, I saw you signed into my system. It's Brady, looks like you've been doing a deep dive into what's available in La Jolla. I see that your price points, you're trying to keep it below $1.3 million. You're looking for a 4-bed, 3-bath. Talk to me about that search so you can leverage what's been uncovered by Chime and by your systems to help build that relationship faster. In effect, what we're trying to do is reduce this feeling that we're cold calling leads, more so that we're following up on their interest. It's a completely different narrative.
Yeah, that's it, man. The conversation has to be a lot softer, right? Because they're barely in discovery phase. And if you're Facebook, they're not even there. Right? Google, at least they have an idea.
Right.
So it's all on your approach. So continue, Brady. Just had to get that one out.
I did want to also point out, Tristan, we talked about the question of cost per lead, and I thought you nailed it in terms of the cost per lead varies. It depends on the average price point, the demographics of your market. My cost per lead here in Phoenix is definitely going to be different than what Tristan might experience down in San Diego. Guys, if you're curious about your cost per lead that you might be getting from Chime, have a conversation with us and our marketing team. Our marketing team can put together a market analysis report for you. Basically, what we'll do is some data collection, who you want us to target, where you want us to target, what source, Facebook, Google, both, and then what budgets you want us to work with. We'll generate a report to forecast some estimated cost per leads for you, and we'll put that in your hands so you can make an educated decision before you start spending money on ads about what some expectations might look like. So just wanted to quickly address that, so we don't think we're wading into the deep end, not armed with data.
Cool, man. Good answer. So question in regards to Google PPC. When we're looking at the lead gen spend and we scroll to the Google section, can we look at the keywords that are being used?
We don't have the ability to see the specific keywords that are being used. Chime offers a big library of keywords. However, you have the ability to see every ad that Chime is designing and serving for you through the system. So if this was your Chime account that I'm looking at right now, these would be your ads that are being displayed in your market on Facebook and Google. If for whatever reason, something about this ad copy doesn't resonate with you, instead of Los Gatos homes for sale, we'd like to say Los Gatos properties available for 55 and over for under $800,000. You can create that feedback and that commentary with our marketing team. We would love your feedback. What is being displayed to help generate leads? Well, it's going to be good, but it can be a lot better if you're willing to weigh in and provide us a little bit of feedback about the ads we're displaying. So be involved in this. Review your ads. Bless them. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
And Brady, is there a cost to run ads here? Like, is it 10%, 20%? What's the cost?
There is a 20% ad management fee that's applied when your ad budget crosses a $700 a month threshold. If you're under 700, Chime tacks on $150 management fee.
Perfect. That was we had two questions on that.
Comes up
And
all the time.
there's a question also between street text and Chime. By the way, we love street text, and we actually put in our street text leads to go in here. They are completely different types of ads. The street text ads are just Facebook ads. They're not lead ads. They're very different. A lead ad automatically fills the information in for the person looking, for the consumer, and we have the option to ask questions within a Facebook landing page. So we can ask, hey, are you looking for homes to buy in the next 90 days? Do you need to sell a home? Are you working with an agent? Those are questions that are built into those landing pages that Facebook has. So everything is Facebook built in comparison to street text has their own landing pages and captures that information outside of Facebook. And so what we found is that you can combine both. There's nothing wrong with it, but I prefer running lead ads because it gives us that information. Some people don't though. Brady, what's your take on it?
Try a combination of both. You know, it's easy for me to say, spend your money in different places, right? Because that's not me ponying up my personal budget here, right? But ultimately, you're going to have to try many different schools of lead generation and digital advertising to find out what your market is most receptive to. I find that there's a lot of not necessarily seasonality, but different parts of the country, different parts of the world engage with ads differently. So understanding your lead type and who your ideal customer profile is, once you have a good understanding of that end result, you can always work back to find the best, most appropriate lead sources: Facebook, Google, Zillow, and Realtor, right? Any and every combination thereof.
I love it, dude. I love it. So I'm going to, well, Becky, I hope we answered that one. And there's a question on listings, and you might not agree with me, Brady, and that's cool because I like that. All right, here we go. So I've been running ads, Google ads, since 2007, around there. And then Facebook, when they started testing it out in 2015, we actually introduced it to the whole industry through lab code agents from Facebook.
I remember that.
And as we started testing things out, people kept on asking, well, where are the seller leads, right? And we do see that Chime has specific seller listing ads, and I like those. But what I found is that after doing a lot of research, because remember, we've run thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, and I've spent millions in ads, okay? And we found that most sellers are buyers first. They need to know if they're able to buy wherever they're looking to buy. And I think that's a misconception because people are looking for seller ads, seller leads when they're in front of you as buyers. We're just not asking and we're not qualifying with the right questions.
Yep.
And so this is why all of our funds are on Google PPC buyers. And you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, it does. This is why we convert so high and we get listings from all of our online leads.
Yeah.
We understand the psychology of how people work. So we're just applying it to where we put our money. And so if you're looking to start, don't overcomplicate this, right? Whether you use Chime or not, just make sure that you do it all in one place and you get great at it, because it's all going to depend on that conversation that you have, right? We could tell you stories and stories. So I can't tell you the name of the football player. Some of you know. And by the way, it's a Chime lead, Brady. So one of my agents, his name's Zach Neely, and Jake knows this story. So Zach Neely gets this client, and I can't even tell you his first name because he's that famous as a football player. But he's on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, okay? World champ. Comes in the Calabasas area, and as a first name and then last name, no name. So first name, so it's like Brady, no name. And it's not Brady, okay? It's not Tom Brady, but name, no name, all right? So we text him, doesn't get back to us. Text him the next day, which is a Saturday, and he texts us back. And we're like, okay, this is going somewhere. Google PPC lead buyer for Calabasas through Chime. Going back and forth. It's like, what are you looking for? It's like, we're looking for, and these are crazy numbers. Okay. So we're looking between 6 to 10 million, right? And we get a little bit, we get going. We figure out who he is. Like, we know who this guy is now at this point, right? Because we have his email address and we have his first name. We put it together, we Google it, and we're like, holy crap, this is, right? And so my friend, Zach, who's a team member, decides to tell his friend, hey, look who we're working with, and text them a screenshot of the conversation, but accidentally sends it to the football player. So the football player then turns around and FaceTimes Zach, FaceTimes him, Brady. And he goes, my man. And so that turned out great because then they connected. He got us with his financial advisor, and he can go up to 10 million all cash. But the point is, you've got to know how to convert these leads, and you have to pay attention to where you're marketing to. Because one thing we're always doing, Brady, is I'm going to the back end of this and I'm looking with Jake. I go, Jake, how is this working? This area is sucking. Like, we need to change this. We need to go over here. The problem is that most agents turn it on and never look at it again. They don't know what their cost per lead is. They don't know what their conversion is. So they don't know that their dialogue sucks. And some people aren't even calling, right?
Ugh.
So people ask, Kristen, how did you break into luxury? Google PPC. That's how we did it.
Yeah. I think it's also important to note, guys, especially with Google leads, because we've talked about intent-driven advertising and how powerful that is. Google is a very useful tool for finding buyers. Intuitively, though, it's quite difficult to find a seller lead on Google. So when I go to Google, right, if I am interested in selling this property that I just bought 6 months ago, I would maybe type in, how do I sell my home? Right? These companies up at the top here, OfferPad, Home Investors, some iBuyers, of course, they're bidding on this stuff, Homey.com. These are the companies that are paying to place their website up at the top of results to track folks that use keywords about listing their property. Right? It's much more tricky to find a seller on Google because sellers don't usually use Google to find a realtor, right? That's going to come from a sphere, a referral, an ad that they've seen, right? It's tricky to leverage Google as a preferred source. We do have the capability, so it's something that you can absolutely leverage. I think it is worth pointing out, though, that Google's a search engine, not necessarily the preferred place to find listings.
Yeah, very true. It's just they're questioning, and we're taking advantage of knowing what keywords to use specifically to capture those people, the right people.
Yep.
So there was a question here, Brady, saying, well, how can I target military? Right. So that's easy. You go to Chime and say, hey, look, I want to target this area and it has military. Well, we find keywords that the military people are specifically typing in, right? And then we have to tweak them. This is where you have to pay attention, like, hey, it's working, it's not working. And you have to continually have the conversation with Chime and be like, hey, tweak it again. Hey, change this up.
Yep.
Right.
You guys can provide keywords to us at any point. Specific. I love that example, right? Being in San Clemente, I was a border town to Camp Pendleton, right? One of the largest Marine bases out there. So my market was a tremendous location for military, right? Relocation, folks moving around. So if you have a preference of lead type like that, collaborate with us and our marketing team and give us the kind of keywords you'd like to incorporate into your ad campaigns. The more feedback we get from you, the better we can dial in your campaigns, most importantly, the results, right? The best kind of quality leads that you're looking for.
Yeah, and it takes time to build it out, man. Like I said, we've been running it for years, and we still tweak. This is what we pay attention to, the little things. We're like, hey, you know what? Let's try it there. For the longest time, we were pouring money into Calabasas, and we kept on getting all these teenagers because Justin Bieber lived there. They were like, oh, we're just looking for Bieber's home. I'm like, and we had to cut off Calabasas for the longest time. And then we brought it back, right? So we have to pay attention to these little nuances that people say, oh, the leads suck. Well, you know what? That's how it is with everything, right? You've got to weed through those. Now, there is a good question here. It says, well, how is this different from Ylopo? Ylopo is the marketing arm, right? Ylopo and Chime work together. So I currently run a lot of our leads that go into Chime from Ylopo, right? So you can do that as well if you've already got it. So just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If you don't have listings, but can utilize ones from my brokerage, can you utilize those for my ads? My IDX is set up on Chime.
Yes.
Brady? Perfect.
Good to go there.
And we answered that one. This one might be good. Hold on. Ooh, this is a good one. Keena, I think it's Keena Curtis. I'm very interested, but not sure which option is best. It's a lot of info and a bit overwhelming. That's true. It is. We're sorry. I'm spending 20K a month on Zillow. Okay.
Wow.
And you know what, Keena, that's okay. I was spending 50,000 a month until I cut everything off. So I understand your pain. I have tried Chime leads in the past, but the return was pretty low. This seems a little different than last year. How can I set up a time to chat with somebody? Brady, what would be the recommendation there?
Let me get some personal information from her and I'll have our marketing team reach out. I think it makes sense to go through another conversation. Let's put together some market analysis reports. Let's give you some estimates about what you might expect with a given ad spend. So we'll break it down with you. I think it's just a matter of getting back on the phone with us and our marketing team.
Yeah, I think that's it right there. And then the key is to remember when you're going, I'm going to talk Google here specifically, Brady. When you're going Google, it's right in the middle, right? Facebook's at the top, right? You can get a ton of them, top of funnel. Middle of the funnel, closer to the bottom, meaning closer to transacting, is Google. At the very bottom, you're going to have referrals, maybe leads coming in as from your review sites, Realtor.com, Zillow, right? That they're ready, they're closer to transact. The problem is that the Realtor.com and the Zillow ones, depending on where you're at, can cost you an arm and a leg. They certainly did for us, right? And so this is why we look at it, and we still look at it, and we continually analyze it. And we're like, Google, let's see. If I spend 20,000, which is what I'm spending on PPC, Google PPC, 20,000 a month at a 1%, let's just say you suck, 1% conversion rate, right? And then you look at spending 20,000 on Realtor.com with probably, if you suck, close, very similar conversion rate, right? In that case, then it's a no-brainer where you go, right? You're going to get a ton more leads and you're going to be able to convert higher. Now, Zillow does have a higher conversion rate, and in some cases, Realtor.com too, but you're also paying a lot more. In some areas, Brady, I've seen $500, $600 per lead. And you know, they also want to take you out as an agent, right? So That's the other part to this. So you can continue to use them. We're not saying don't if it's working, but I think now it's time to start building out your own business and do exactly what they're doing and use Google and Facebook to start growing your business because they're doing the exact same thing.
It's also a matter, and could be a small detail, but I think it's important. It's a matter of branded ads versus unbranded ads. When you're doing a Facebook ad campaign, when you're doing a Google ad campaign, the ads that your potential leads are seeing are your brand, your business, your website, and your listings, right? So all the way from the very first thing folks see when they're on Google and on Facebook, it's all about you. It's not about Zillow. It's not about Realtor.com. So it's how you continue to rent room upstairs in their head of, wow, this is a beautiful looking property. Wow, that's a really cool looking website. Look at all this information that's available here, right? Your system should help edify you through the process of lead capture, lead engagement, as well as lead conversion. So just another good distinction to think about when we're talking leads and lead sources. Am I doing branded advertising on my behalf, or am I leveraging unbranded ads? Both are good, but there is a distinction that's important to note.
Yeah, and look, I know this is a completely different webinar, but as soon as the leads come through, I want to talk about the AI and the automation. Because
I was gonna hijack this regardless. I had to
Go,
transition into that stuff.
Yeah.
So a couple of things, guys, as leads are being captured by this system, right? Number one is there is an AI assistant that is running whenever Chime runs those Google ads or those Facebook ads for you. By the way, this AI assistant is rolled into those management fees that we touched on a couple minutes ago. So it is included when you do marketing through Chime. The AI assistant is designed to accomplish two things. Number one is it's going to engage your website visitors in a live chat function on site. Don't mean to disable that, want to keep it running. So that means as soon as somebody clicks on an ad and visits your website, AI is popping up and it's having a conversation with that website visitor for you. It's reacting to what that website visitor does when they're on the site. So if somebody saves a listing, it's going to say, hey, I noticed you saved a listing. Would you like to schedule a tour? So it's reactive to what your website visitors are doing. And again, all of this is happening on site. The second half of AI is not happening on the screen here. It's happening over on the cell phone. This AI system will begin texting your new leads for you immediately as soon as they're signed in to help get those new leads qualified. And when I say qualified, I mean either a hot lead or a lead that could need some more nurturing. And if a lead gave you a fake phone number or a bad email address, or they say, hey, go fly a kite and kick rocks, something along those lines, right? Those leads will get scrubbed out so you don't have to waste your time working on bad data leads. So Chime does include an artificial intelligence system to help engage your leads and qualify them for you. That way, when you assign them out to your agents or you start calling through them yourself, you'll already know if I'm in the hot category, these folks are ready to see a showing, or they're pre-approved, or they've got a couple properties they want to check out. Truly a hot lead. And the statistic that we're really excited about is out of every 100 leads that our AI engages with, the AI is dispositioning 22 out of 100 leads as hot for you. So my question for clients is, what would you do with 22 truly hot leads? How many of those do you think you can convert, right? The industry average for lead conversions pretty low. It's between 1% and 2%.
Yep.
So what rate could we get if we had 22 of those truly hot folks willing to talk and already engaging with us?
Yeah, that's true. The percentage will go higher because typically it's 1% to 2% off of just random online leads coming through.
It is,
right?
It is. So you got to have that. You got to have some sort of a system to engage your new leads. I'd also ensure that specifically for your buyers, you're doing automated property alerts. As soon as a buyer signs into your system, they should start to get emails from you with the listings that are available in your market that match up to their searches, their buying criteria, and their wishes of what they want in their next property. So set up your automated property alerts so you can start dripping out listings that are relevant to that lead and their experience within your system. Those property alerts should go hand in hand with your drip campaigns as well. Smart plans here in Chime. When we talk smart plans in Chime, guys, you don't have to create it all from scratch. Use our library of pre-written drips, steal this content, rewrite it, add your videos, add your pictures in there, and then start dripping this content out to your leads as new leads are created, right? Auto texts, auto emails, automatic call reminders of when we need to follow up. That's what a smart plan and a drip campaign should do. So we're going to help engage your leads with AI. We're going to share relevant listings through property alerts. We're going to help in terms of increasing the engagement rates through drip campaigns and texts and emails that are going to continue to poke those leads.
You got it, dude. And I'm going to share my screen really quick. I just want to share something. Where did we go? There we are. All right, here we go. Here's our AI for our chat bot. It was actually still on. So his name's Grogu, right? And here's the preview. Hi there. So great to have you here. I'm Grogu. How can I help you today? And some people want to keep a real face like a person. I want to make sure that everybody knows that it's AI, that they're going to engage with something that's not real. It just, I don't like to deceive people that way. I'm pretty sure most people will think that it's not real anyway. I just don't want to leave it up to chance. And then here's the cool thing. I can have it active whenever I want, right? See here, it says active hours. I only have it at night, right? Because I know my agents are working the rest of the times. And I can decide if I want to enable the AI assistant for new leads, I can decide what lead source and whose leads they want to work, right? So this is why I love this, man. I have it working for Chime and leads for existing lead qualification. That means if they're triggered in any way, they go right back and it's like a hand raiser for us.
Yep. It's also really nice when we import new leads into Chime for the first time. So for some of our new Chime clients, if you have 5,000 leads sitting there in a database, when you import those 5,000 leads into Chime, you can elect our AI to go in and start re-engaging those folks, bubbling up new opportunities. I like to think about it as waking the dead, right? Everybody has a chunk of their database that isn't communicative. We'll let AI jump in and take over some of that communication. You'll never know what kind of opportunities you might unearth.
Brady, can you show us where we would go to for the education? Because I know that gets lost sometimes. If people are just signing up, where they would go to learn more within Chime.
You bet. Your best friend over here is going to be this little question mark shaped icon in the upper right-hand corner. I would be a big fan of all three of these areas. Most importantly, at least from a content perspective, might be that help center. So how can I help you? I'd like to learn more about lead generation. All right. So there's FAQs about it. There's campaign selection and campaign tools. We want to address doing lead generation for our friends up north of the border in Canada. But this is where you can consume a ton of data about the lead generation to learn more about what we do. There's also the training guide and the help center in here too, with step-by-step videos that explain our package and the different options that are available. I think one of the best ways you can do it is try and get me or somebody on the team here to get on the phone and have a conversation with you. Let's hop into a demo. Let's do a screen share like what Tristan and I are doing, but more personalized to you. So we can start to gather some data about who you want to target, where you want to target, what budget you want to work with, and let us put together some estimations so we can give you some data to act on.
Exactly. Here's, I want to see if I can, is there another section? Well, people are asking about automation. Where would they go to learn more about automation? Is there a section here that people can use that's built in, or at least to learn more about it?
Automation is a multi-headed monster in Chime. Automation to me means drip campaigns, auto emails and texts, automated property alerts for those listings that are sent out, as well as automation in terms of AI. So those three areas are covered right over here on the left-hand side under this paper airplane icon, your campaign planner in Chime. So if you'd like to learn more about what the options look like there, go to this paper airplane, come down to your automations, and start off by looking at what the drip campaigns are all about. There's a guide here for your drip campaigns should you need it. Pop right into the library to see what we have pre-written, and then just work your way down these, right? There's going to be information specific to each of these features within Chime. You want to learn about AI? Well, here's everything that we need to know about the features, the setup, the labeling, the active hours, and how you can choose to activate AI to work in specific elements of your database.
Perfect, man. I'm just answering some other questions. David has a great question. How tech savvy must we be to effectively use Chime?
That's the beauty of Chime. There's a lot in here, guys. It's a really robust product. It's extremely user-friendly. You do not need to be a tech guru. You don't have to have an IT background or no coding and scripting to leverage this system. when you sign into Chime each day, we need to be showing you and telling you who your follow-ups are, right? Your new leads, those leads that are captured from your ads and from the website, they're going to be teed up. So if this number says anything other than 0, jump right in there, right? You want to work on hot leads. Your hot leads are all your opportunities right here on your dashboard. So click right into those ops and see who the folks are that are the hottest leads in the system right now. And by the way, we tell you who your hot leads are because we score and rank your leads for you too, using AI. And then also, you know, you want to clear out your follow-ups, hit that one up to the top right. As long as you guys are clearing out these 3 pieces of data and reducing these numbers to 0, speed to lead and speed to engagement is accomplished. You're capitalizing on your buying opportunities and buying and selling behaviors, which are tracked by opportunities. And your follow-ups are all teed up for you right there. So you can get plenty deep into the system. You can get into the weeds all you'd like. I would look at this dashboard as a guide of where I need to go and who I need to spend time on. The other place that you're going to be spending the majority of your time in Chime, frankly, is the people tab. This is where those leads are going to be stored and organized. This is where you'll be working out of to manage your leads, move them through your sales funnel, stay organized with your groups. But this is the heart and soul of the system where you'd be spending time. Where we can go from there is limitless, but let's keep it simple, stupid, and just focus on these leads to drive that conversion.
I love it, man. Brady, anything else in closing, buddy?
You know, I think if anybody has questions, we'd love an opportunity to connect for a demo. We can do a screen share just like this. We'll get to know you guys and get to know some of your goals, and we can really break apart the system. So if you're not a part of Chime and you'd like to learn more, chime.me is our website. Come in and request a demo. You'll be paired up with anybody on the team, myself included. If you're a current client of Chime and you have questions, feel free to reach out. Brady@chimeinc.com is my email. You guys can reach me there. And if I'm not responding, it's just because I'm doing demos and screen shares and webinars like today.
I love it, dude. There were some really good questions, by the way. I really liked it. Did we put up the link there one more time, Jake? I must have answered, I don't even know, I lost count of questions, but
that's what we're here for, right? I love that you guys are able to ask questions. By the way, we're going to continue to do these webinars, and it's going to be me and other folks here at Chime to help get these questions answered. So thank you all for your time.
I love it. And this is recorded. It'll go on our YouTube channel, and we're going to see more of Brady. Brady, thanks for being on, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, Tristan. Always a pleasure. Take it easy.
Have a good week, everybody.